Hello everyone, this is your one and only favorite Hypermark, and today I'm going to be reading you another fanfic, and this one is called Spike the Time Traveler by Flash Forward. Chapter 1, The Task. Spike had been walking through the streets of Canterlot trying to think of the reasons why Timesmith needed him. Princess Celestia's letter only stated that a chariot would come and pick him up from Ponyville, and he would wait until the royal guards take him to Celestia's castle, or Timesmith himself would pick him up. There was a catch coming to Canterlot to speak to Timesmith, though, and it's that Spike had to come strictly alone. No Fluttershy, no Rainbow Dash, Pinky, Rarity, and no Twilight. That last bit in the letter didn't sit so well with his fellow friends, especially Twilight. Spike chuckled to himself, remembering how aggravated Twilight got for not being able to tag along with him. "Does she think I'm irresponsible or worse?" Twilight said darkly to herself. "Nah, I doubt that. You have to remember that Smith wants me only," Spike said in an attempt to calm down his close friend. Sadly, it backfired. Twilight channeled her anger on her assistant instead. "Who is this Timesmith anyway?" Twilight demanded forcefully. Spike opened his mouth, but nothing came out. She had a point. Celestia had made no mention on what Smith did for a living, let alone who he was. At last, Spike answered. "Celestia didn't say in the letter," Spike said lamely. He was holding up Celestia's letter of summons as if trying to let the letter take the blame for him. "Well, I'm going to send a letter to Princess Celestia. There is no reason for me to miss learning such valuable information," Twilight declared. "Now, if you don't mind, Spike, write this down." "Spike? Where'd you go?" Twilight said in surprise. Did Spike just leave her to ramble? Twilight was furious with Spike's vanishing act, but Spike was never going to feel her wrath, at least until he came back from Canterlot, that is. Upon his return, Spike felt Twilight would be reading up on some spell that would punish him. While Spike was busy in the middle of his flashback, a stallion in golden armor stood behind him, towering over Spike like a tree towers over the rest of the plants in a garden. "Spike," said the royal guard. "Huh? Oh, yeah, that's me," Spike said, obviously thrown off guard by the new stallion speaking to him. "Princess Celestia wishes that you be escorted to the royal palace." The golden stallion started in a businessman-like fashion, when a much taller colt appeared suddenly between the royal guard and Spike. The tall blue colt had appeared from a portal that cut through the air and disappeared just as fast as the colt came through it. "Cool, right?" smiled the blue colt sheepishly. "Timesmith?" asked the golden-clad guard. "Why, yes it is, but please refer to me as Tick or Jordan, whatever suits you better," said Tick in an enthusiastic voice. "So you're Timesmith?" Spike asked with the curiosity boiling inside him. "Timesmith is more of a title of my job, if you will. However, it didn't stop people nicknaming me Tick-Tock, obviously after the job I do," Tick answered. "What's your job exactly?" Spike asked. "If you don't mind, Spike, further questions will have to wait. No reason for the guard standing around to listen to us." Tick turned his attention to the guard now. "If you don't mind, lad, tell Celestia Spike is perfectly safe in my company," Tick said cheerfully. The guard walked off, heading off to the royal castle. Tick retrieved a pocket watch from his saddle and inspected it. Spike was beyond confused by Tick's interest in the silver watch. "Well, time is of the essence. Spike, if you don't mind, place your hand somewhere on my watch." Tick held out the watch for Spike to touch. At first, Spike seemed reluctant to touch the watch. Is this a joke or something? Spike thought. At last, Spike gave in and just placed the tip of his claw on the face of the clock. Suddenly, Spike and Tick vanished from the spot. It didn't take long for Spike and Tick to teleport back to Tick's home and workplace. Spike was slightly covered in ash from the unexpected teleporting, but he brushed off the ashes himself. "Well, Spike, this is where I spend the majority of my time in," Tick said with a great pride in his voice. "You may look around if you like while I grab some tea," Tick said, leaving Spike in the room alone. At first glance, it looked like he was back in Twilight's library. There were mountains upon mountains of books and bookshelves as far as the eye can see. Without much thought, Spike grabbed a book randomly from his shelf and was startled to see the cover. It read, "The Legend of Discord, the Spirit of Chaos." Spike read through some pages and realized how disruptive Discord's ideal world was to the other ponies. Farming was near impossible due to Discord's constant changing in the weather, all the chocolate rain, daylight and nighttime. It was also hard to believe any pony due to so many ponies losing their own unique personalities, as Discord changed anyone's personality to complete opposites whenever he felt like it. There were political figures that would turn into pigs or donkeys for Discord's amusement. Discord would destroy or reconfigure something scared or beloved for his entertainment, while the community screamed and panicked at the terror. There seemed to be no limit to Discord's manipulation, even if he did everything imaginable. Nearing the end of the book, there showed a picture of Celestia and Luna turning Discord into stone. On the next page, there was Twilight and her friends overtaking Discord as well. Both of the pictures look similar to the glass windows in the royal palace, showing the triumphs over Discord too. Spike flicked through some more pages, then realized that the pages were blank. "I see that you found a flaw in the book that is evident in many other books in here," Tick said simply. Spike was startled and blew flames upon the book he was holding because of it. "I'm so sorry," Spike began to babble, then realized that the book was perfectly safe and glowing blue. Then the blue aura surrounding the book faded and the book dropped on the floor with a dull thud. "Not to worry, Spike. Every book in this library is magically enchanted to have some means of protecting itself from the damage and other general wear and tear," Tick said happily. "It is pretty cool, actually. You should have seen it when I let the dinner catch on fire in the kitchen once. So many books popped off from the shelves and started flopping around trying to open the windows and jump off." Tick laughed hysterically. Spike had a sudden vision of all the books in Twilight's library holding a protest against her for using them so much. He went into a fit of laughter. Once Spike and Tick calmed down, Tick sat down on a chair and sipped at his cup of tea quietly. "Well, Spike, I guess you have many questions about me and what is the purpose of me bringing you here. Am I right?" Tick said. "Yeah, what are you exactly?" Spike asked. Was he a pony or something more? "Well, I'm an alicorn, just like Princess Celestia and Princess Luna," Tick answered easily. Spike went to grab his cup of tea that Tick had floating near a table and sat on the other side where Tick sat. "So you're the brother of the princesses?" Spike said in shock. Tick laughed at this. Then he realized how serious Spike was about this question, and he stopped instantly. "Oh, sorry, Spike. I didn't mean to offend, but I'm in no way, shape, or form a sibling of the princesses. However, I am, in a sense, a distant cousin," Tick said sheepishly. "So, if you're an alicorn, you have been here for some time already?" Spike asked. "Indeed, which is one of the main reasons why I was picked up for this job. As you can tell, no mere mortal being can live long enough to truly be in this job long enough without having to replacement every 80-ish years when the pony would die or become too old to contribute successfully for this job. It just becomes complicated to choose a pony every 80 or so years. This is by average pony standards," Tick said. Tick took another sip from his teacup while Spike mulled over this information. "So can you see into the future?" Spike asked, trying to mask his excitement. Tick stopped sipping his tea and noticed how excited Spike was for this answer. "Yes," Tick answered. "Can you change the future then?" Spike persisted. At this, Tick raised an eyebrow at Spike. "Spike, the future is so manipulated by everyday decisions it's pointless to interrupt it anyway," Tick shrugged. Spike deflated a bit but regained some confidence. "But it's possible, right?" Spike asked, hoping he was right. Tick nodded and Spike grinned widely at the news. Tick suppressed a chuckle. Seeing the small purple dragon's reactions were priceless. "Speaking of time traveling and manipulation, Spike, would you be interested in looking into the future and past of Ponyville's residents?" "It was the main reason why I asked you to come here after all," Tick said seriously. Spike considered this would be an interesting way of knowing about his friends and people that lived near him. It also may show him a way to get with Rarity if he looked into our future. Of course, Spike wasn't willing to tell his greedy epitomations to Tick, but this was a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity after all. Twilight would be jealous that Spike was basically Tick's apprentice for a while, and it sounded pretty darn cool to him. With barely anything to lose, Spike made his choice. "Okay, Tick, I'll do it," Spike declared. "Are you sure, Spike? I'm not forcing you to do this. And I warn you, this is not for the faint of heart. Prepare yourself to see things you wish you could forget altogether," Tick added cautiously. He did not want to scar Spike emotionally if he could avoid it. "Don't worry about me, just tell me what I need to do," Spike said with excitement. Tick stopped sipping his tea and walked off to another room. Spike followed and was in shock at what he saw. Thousands upon thousands of hourglasses and documents were in a room, all placed in the shelves against a circular wall. There was a large hourglass in the middle of the room, with sand within was a blue faint color. Without hesitation, Tick took some sand from the large hourglass and placed it onto his gold pocket watch. "What's with the sand looking different from regular sand?" Spike asked. "You see, this sand is infused with magic. The first ever timesmith made this himself, in fact. Now, Spike, if you do well enough with this job, I'll let you keep the watch with this powder," Tick answered. Spike couldn't believe it. He had the power to defy age and practically laugh at the face of death now. As if Tick was speaking miles away, he carried on. "The first thing you must understand, Spike, is that you cannot kill anyone. Even speaking to your past or futuristic self can hold fatal consequences," Tick continued. "Why would I want to hurt someone?" Spike said in disbelief. "You may not be pleased by what you may witness, Spike. Also, you are just to collect information, not to change the course of history itself," Tick said in an undertone. Spike wanted to justify himself, but stopped before he could say anything. "So wait, how do you keep track of this information, and what information I'm supposed to look for anyway?" Spike asked. "The watch keeps track of all of the events as it goes through time. It's like carrying around a pen and a book without needing to write anything down. As for the information to collect, you just need to gather how long each individual lives and what they accomplish in their lives, so I'm able to better connect distant families together, why wars happened, and what's the true intent of an idea, and so on," Tick answered. Spike loved the idea of not needing to write anything down. He did enough with the Twilight as it is. Then Spike realized the flaw in all this. "So how do I track down every pony in Ponyville? That's gonna take ages," Spike complained to Tick. "I'll tell you what, you just gather info on your friends and people you know well. I understand this is a long and tiresome task, so I'll cut you some slack. Fair enough?" Tick asked. "Well, if you put it that way..." "Okay, sure," Spike said in relief. "One last thing before I send you on your way. Don't abuse the watch, Spike, or I'll have to fix up your mess and return this very moment and take back that watch from you. I expect you to use the watch responsibly. Understand?" Tick said warningly. Spike just nodded his head, but something was irking Spike. "Tick, about the book," Spike said in a low whisper. "The book about the history of Discord? What of it, Spike?" Tick asked, raising an eyebrow at Spike. "With all the blank pages in there, does that mean that there'll be more about Discord in the future?" Spike asked in a shaky voice. He was terrified of the answer. "It's very possible for Discord to return. Anything from a strong magical spell to free him from his statue prison to elements of harmony becoming too weak to suppress him inside the statue he resides in," Tick said in a matter-of-fact tone. Spike didn't like that answer a whole lot, but he knew Tick was only telling him the truth. The possibility of Discord running wild again didn't sit well with Spike, but he had no doubt the power of his friends' friendship for each other will last a long time. "I think, Spike, it's getting late. Time for you to go back to Ponyville. But before you leave, let me explain how to activate the watch's time-traveling powers. All you have to do is is click the little button on the side, twist the arrows clockwise for future, and counterclockwise for past. Simple enough, right?" Tick explained while pointing out the purple button on the watch, which stood out with all the gold in it. "Wait! How much time do I have to get the information on everyone?" Spike asked nervously. "Let me see. It should take you about a month max, and that's with the on and off work," Tick answered. "A month? That's a little tight, don't you think?" Spike complained. "Well, considering Ponyville is nothing compared to Cantula, I'm allowing you to choose who to research on. Consider yourself lucky. I do all of this in a matter of few days," Tick said sternly. "Why pick me then?" Spike asked. "Well, I've fallen a bit behind on my research, so I asked Celestia if she knew anyone who was a good assistant or good at following directions. She recommended you," Tick answered. Spike felt a little embarrassed by this piece of information. The princess herself recommended him for the job. He never felt so proud in his life. Well, not true. Being given the title of #1 assistant from Twilight was a big deal, but this is right up there. Without notice, Tick clicked the watch, and a portal materialized in front of him. "You're right," stated Tick. Spike hesitated to walk through the portal. He remembers all too well how the last portal left him barbecued, and he wasn't in the mood to be burnt again. It didn't seem like Tick cared, though, since he kicked Spike through the portal. As Spike was falling through time and space, yelling the entire trip, he could hear Tick's voice faintly.
Remember, don't screw this up,
Tick's fading voice warned. I'll try not to, called out Spike. He wasn't so sure if Tick heard him, but he was worth the effort. Spike suddenly fell from the exit of the portal and landed face first on the cold, hard floor of the treehouse that he lived in. Ugh, I'll never get used to that, Spike moaned, rubbing his face to see if he broke anything when he landed. It was amazing how time flew by while he stayed at Tick's place. It's nighttime already. Suddenly, the portal reappeared and the book shot right out and smashed right into Spike's head. Oh, come on! Spike yelled into the portal as it disappeared. The book was dusty, thick, and had a dark green cover, looking at something like Twilight would have fallen in love with. Skimming through the pages, Spike noticed this book was a hand guide to being a timesmith. There was all kinds of sneaky and clever ways of getting the information Tick needed for him. However, Spike noticed that there was a catch to even attempt to travel in a person's lifetime. You have to have some sort of physical contact with them in the watch. Spike noticed that there was a note from Tick on the page that was titled, Clever Approaches. Read it. It doesn't need physical contact with the watch itself. The magic is infused with the watch and what needs to be in contact, since the magic is what causes the time travel. The watch is simply a container. Good luck, Spike. Spike placed the book Tick sent him in his basket. He didn't really want to share the book with Twilight. She would read it non-stop for hours on end. As Spike lay down in his basket, he realized how tough his task was going to be and how easy it was for him to screw it up. Drifting into a deep sleep, the only thing on Spike's mind was whom should be the first pony he would investigate on.